2-7 playoff previews here. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. It's a hot conference. The Celtics will meet the Hawks.
One of my top two conferences.
In the first round of the 23 NBA playoffs. Game 1 set to take place Saturday afternoon in Boston. Celtics locked up the number 2 seed in the regular season, winning 57 games. And look at them on both sides of the ball there. My God. Top 2 offensive rating and defensive rating, number 1 in the league when it comes to net rating. The Hawks, meanwhile, they're 500, but they did win their first play-in game on Tuesday night to clinch that number 7 seed. Boston 7-1 all time against Atlanta in the playoffs. But I think the Hawks won the last one that they played, if I have that right. 16, I want to say.
Oh.
Yeah. It's been a while. Celtics-Hawks, one thing to watch, guys.
Nothing easy in this series. Nothing easy.
Nice.
One thing to watch, I think, is the strength of the Hawks guards versus the strength of the Celtics defensive guards.
Okay.
The Hawks want to start everything through Trey and DeJounte, but the Celtics got a great matchup. I think they are going to start Derek White and Marcus Smart. They're not going to go big and start Robert Williams and drop Derek White to the bench. So White and Smart against Trey and DeJounte, I think will negate some of that strength that the Hawks want to be able to handle things from there. So I just think that hurts. The Celtics are just damn good. They can just play any way they want. And in the next round, if they get there, they'll deal with Embiid in a different way. But they can play small, they can play big, they can run. That's why they're so damn good. Brogdon is just waiting to come out and help out against those guards. So there's just so much they can do against Trey and DeJounte.
And then even Jaylen Brown, obviously, getting a lot of those matchups, too.
Totally.
A lot of great defensive guards on the Celtics, and you think something to watch there, whether they can negate them a little bit.
Yep.
What are you focusing in on?
It's interesting. I actually think the Hawks backcourt can win their matchup. Trey's been incredible against the Celtics this season. He's at 33 points a game, 11 assists. Marcus Smart, Derek White, both very, very streaky. That's something I think to keep an eye on is how aggressive Derek White is as an offensive player. And we saw in the playoffs last season there were times when he didn't trust his jump shot, and that really hurt the Celtics offense. He's been a great player this season, been very willing to take three-pointers, but sometimes he just wants to record scratch it, maybe get into the floater game. Marcus Smart, of course, can go 10 for 12 from 3 in a game and go 0 for 12 from 3 in a game. I also think, Bogdan Bogdanovic has been playing pretty solid lately. He could have a decent game as well. I think maybe the big guys can be a wash in this series, but there's a clear advantage for the Celtics on the wing with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're going to be going up against basically DeAndre Hunter. That's it. There's not a lot of wings on the Atlanta Hawks right now. Sadiq Bey will probably get a lot of time.
He is not good defensively.
He is not good defensively, but otherwise it's going to be John Collins trying to guard Jason Tatum. That's also a problem there. Then you look defensively. The Celtics their wings can guard so many different guys. Tatum and Brown can take turns on some of the guards, on some of the wings. They can be help defenders as well. Meanwhile, you basically got to ask DeJounte Murray and DeAndre Hunter to guard those guys for 48 minutes and then give you something offensively as well. I think that's where this series is really going to be won.
Can the Hawks replicate what they did against Miami Heat in their play-in game? That's a big question. Obviously, they were a monster on the boards. That was why they won the game. They just kept grabbing offensive rebounds. Capella was huge. But the Celtics lead the league in defensive rebounding percentage in the regular season. Though the Hawks in games against them did pretty well in second chance points. So, obviously it's not going to be as easy for Capella, for Collins, for Jalen Johnson, for Okongwu, all their bigs, to grab offensive rebounds against Celtics bigs compared to the Heat bigs, which was really Bam, who was having a brutal game, and then Love and Zeller was like nothing. So, Robert Williams, he's going to play in this. You're going to see minutes. Al Horford, not the tallest guy, but basketball IQ through the roof, and he's going to box out guys and try and keep them off the glass. So I think that's where I'll be watching, just like the Hawks, to win these games. Going to need more possessions probably, and can they get those second chance points, or will the Celtics, like they did all regular season against most teams, just took care of business? Like, they end possessions. That's the thing. They get the stop. They have great defensive players, but you got to get the rebound at the end, or it doesn't really matter. So we'll be watching that.
Problem for the Hawks is they had 2 incredible offensive rebounding games against the Celtics this season.
Yeah.
One where they had 17, one where they had 16, and they lost both of them. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because the Celtics shoot so many threes. That's how the Hawks really can win this series, is if the Celtics have a bad shooting series. Because that happens. They take about half their shots from three-pointers, which means you can blow out a team by 20 points, but it also means, like the Celtics have done quite a few times this season, you can give back a double-digit lead easily in the second half.
Who do you have as an X factor from either team? Go ahead, Tess.
Well, I think what you just said about the rebounding is important, primarily with John Collins, because I think Clint Capella and Al Horford will end up being some sort of a wash when you throw Robert Williams in there as well. But because the Celtics are going to probably play small, John Collins is going to be out there, and he has the capability of out-rebounding probably Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, the wings. He's got to get extra possessions. Tatum and Brown are going to outscore him. They got to get extra possessions. He can do that. He can jump over the top, and that will be the Celtics' weak point, as Trey pointed out with the numbers there, as you pointed out, Skeets. Got to get extra possessions and pray. And pray that DeAndre Hunter and DeJounte Murray, who's going to be undersized against Tatum and Brown, there's no doubt. They do a decent enough job. There's just a lot of ifs here on the Celtics team, for this Hawks team, because the Celtics just do so much. So John Collins got to get some extra possessions. And I do think the Celtics aren't going to respond to this issue that they know going into the series. If us dummies know that the Hawks get extra possessions, Missoula's not just going to come out and play Robert Williams. I don't think. I think they're going to play their style, what they played all season long, which was Al Horford at the 5 and Robert Williams coming off the bench most of the time, and figure it out from there and keep Robert Williams as healthy as possible for potential second and third rounds. They're going to do their thing, and I think they'll be ready for it. The Celtics, they are a chameleon. They'll adapt. I think they'll board hard enough, but John Collins should hope to hurt them in that department.
Yeah, I wonder how much Capella even gets to play really in this series, because when we saw the Celtics play against them, when they went small, right, it's like Capella's like, he's forced to be like, okay, well, do I drop? Well, then that's just a bunch of three-point shooters stepping into easy shots once the ball's rotated. Or, you've got him in a bunch of action, and that's not his strong suit. So I wonder, that's going to be a decision for Quinn Snyder. You want him in there, Capella, because you want these chances at extra points or rebounds and stuff like that. But if you can't play him, you can't play him, and that means John Collins and more Sadiq Bey and guys that can at least maybe shoot with the Celtics bigs like Horford, who's the best three-point shooter in the damn league.
Made a ton of clutch threes.
Yeah.
Atlanta pedigree as well, so he's not going to be scared when he's down here in the Fortress. Got the second loudest applause, actually, for the Celtics. I was surprised Jaylen Brown got the most applause. He's an Atlanta guy as well. But yeah, I'm with y'all guys. I think John Collins is an X factor. He can't just be standing in the corner. If they go small, he's got to try and draw fouls. He's got to try and be in the lane a little bit. Sadiq Bey, huge X factor here. 36% career three-point shooter. Somehow shoots 50% in 12 career games against the Celtics.
There you go.
He's just a Celtics killer. So if he has a hot series, that definitely helps. And then from the Celtics side, I am going to be seeing if Derek White wants to shoot the ball and can shoot the ball. Probably more of a concern long term, but he was 31% from 3 in the playoffs last season and at times became unplayable. So that's a question mark. And I suppose Grant Williams is also a question mark. Down season. And if the Celtics are going small, he's going to get some three-point looks. Knocked him down against the Bucks last season. Let's see if he does it.
I love when we get into these previews and then ultimately our predictions. We're trying to find these guys that are going to make a difference in a quarter or a half. We're talking about 6th, 7th, 8th man sometimes, but we do sometimes just gloss over the fact. Yeah, Celtics have Tatum and Brown. That's basically 60 points in their sleep. And then can Trey and DeJounte Murray as their two guys? Can they match them? Can they have at least 4 out of 7 games where they're the better or at least equivalent duo on that night? Unlikely. Can they do it a couple games? Maybe, but that, all these things we're talking about, it's Jesus, how the hell do you stop Tatum and then Brown?
They don't have the matchups. That's the problem. Hunter and Murray. Murray's just too small. That's a problem.
Prediction time. Who do you got? Celtics-Hawks, how many games?
Well, yeah, sticking with that, the Trae Young and DeJounte Murray have to outscore the Celtics bench as much as the Celtics wings are outscoring the Hawks wings, and I just don't see that happening. The Celtics guards are just too good, too deep. I got the Celtics in 6, and I think that's reasonable. The Hawks are playing well, even despite you can just say it's one game, but before that, they were playing well. They're 5-2 in their last 7. It was real. They were playing deep. And I know the Celtics are extremely deep, but the Hawks are bringing guys off the bench. We haven't mentioned Jalen Johnson, who I'm sure is going to play in this athletic type guy. The They have guys to roll out there, but it ain't enough.
Okay. Celtics in 6. Who do you go?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm Celtics in 6 as well. Like you mentioned, Tass, this is the Zaza Pachulia series. It would be great if this is going to a Game 7, baby. But for as foolish that the Celtics can be, as streaky as they can be with their three-point shooting, it probably evens out over the course of time. So yeah, Celtics in 6.
I believe we have ourselves a gentleman's sweep on our hands here.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I'll take the Celtics in 5 and the gentleman's sweep for those that don't know. We define it as you win the first 3 games and then as a gentleman give the 4th game at home to the team losing in the series. And then you take care of business in 5. I could see that happening here. Hopefully not, because I love when the road team takes one of the first 2 games and it feels like you have a series immediately. I'll be in Boston hopefully for Game 2 with some Hawks fans, so maybe that one's entertaining. But Beantown boys, a little too much here for Atlanta, and I do think we might get caught up at times. You're right, they ended the season in style, but this is a very mid-Atlanta Hawks team. And like we get caught up in like, man, they just crushed the Miami Heat. They looked awesome. And it's like, yeah, now they're playing the Boston Celtics. So I'll go Celtics in 5, and a little tip of the cap to Schumann for this stat. We showed you that graphic, Celtics ranking 2nd in both offensive and defensive efficiency in the regular season. Just the 3rd team in the last 27 seasons to be top 2 on both sides of the floor. That's since we've had like the play-by-play data to do it, 27 seasons. The other 2, 14-15 Warriors, won the chip. 16-17 Warriors, won the chip. I guess I'm like, I was shocked by that top 2 on both sides of the ball. That's a damn good team. And maybe it's weird because they're not the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. I mean, those Warriors teams had the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So that helps.
All right, Celtics in 5 for me, Celtics in 6 for these 2 guys.
The stream team is saying we're being too nice.
Yeah, maybe.
We're being a little bit too nice to the Hawks here. I'm giving them these games. Maybe so.
We're giving them 1 extra game. Okay, I guess the stream teamers think that the Celtics could very well sweep.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
That's possible.
They're a good team. They're a good team.
Great team.
Let's hear from everybody in the comments. Who do you have? How many games? Celtics, Hawks.